When Clint Eastwood sat alone on a park bench, a little girl noticed his sadness. What she did next changed everything. But before we dive in, let us know where you're watching from. And if you love powerful stories like this, hit that subscribe button, because tomorrow we've got another unforgettable story just for you. A little girl offers Clint Eastwood her sandwich, but she was unprepared for the aftermath of her kind gesture. Dora was the kind of child who noticed things others often overlooked. While other kids might giggle and play without a care, Dora often paused to observe the world around her, paying attention to small things like a stray cat's twitching tail, the cracks in the sidewalk, or the tired look in a stranger's eyes. She had an ability to sense when someone or something needed kindness. At just 6 years old, she had a heart far bigger than her small frame. Dora's family lived in a modest apartment on the outskirts of town. Life was simple but happy. Dora's mother worked 2 jobs, mornings at the deli and evenings cleaning offices, to keep a roof over their heads. Life wasn't always easy for them, but Sarah had taught Dora the value of generosity even when they didn't have much to give. It was a lesson Dora took to heart, but sharing her sandwich with Clint Eastwood that fateful afternoon wasn't planned. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, Clint Eastwood was quietly losing himself to the world. He was a Hollywood actor and director known for his transformative roles in The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly, and his recent movie Juror No. 2. But behind the scenes, his life was in turmoil. For months, Eastwood's new movie, Juror No. 2, was not performing as expected. More than that, his whirlwind love life was causing disputes, making him endure public scrutiny and grapple with a profound sense of loneliness. The tabloids had turned his life into a spectacle, making him a constant target of rumors and relentless paparazzi. Even in his mansions, surrounded by luxury, he felt utterly alone. Fame, he had come to realize, often came at the cost of genuine connection. When a close friend suggested he take some time away, Eastwood hesitated. He hated the idea of running away. He wasn't sure leaving would help. But after yet another relentless week of camera flashes in his face and strangers treating his pain like entertainment, he accepted. Trying it out, Eastwood packed a few essentials, left his team strict instructions not to follow him, and drove until he found a small town where he could be anonymous. The town had a simple charm. No red carpets, no flashing lights, just cobblestone streets and a park surrounded by golden trees. He rented a small, unassuming cabin on the outskirts of a quiet town, far removed from the chaos of Hollywood. The days passed slowly. In the town where everyone seemed to know everyone, Eastwood kept to himself, hiding beneath face caps and sunglasses, blending into the scenery. His daily routine became monotonous. He'd wake up, make coffee, and take a walk to the park. There, he'd sit on the same bench, watching the world pass by without really engaging with it. He avoided eye contact, pulling his cap lower whenever someone walked past. He wasn't just hiding from the world, he was hiding from himself, hoping to find solace in the stillness. But isolation brought its own challenges. Each quiet day gave way to restless nights filled with overthinking. His mind replayed mistakes, regrets, and overwhelming questions. Peace didn't come easily. His thoughts were heavy, his heart even heavier. On one such afternoon, Eastwood found himself on a weathered bench in the park. The crisp autumn wind rustled the golden leaves overhead. He hadn't eaten all day, too caught up in his own brooding thoughts to care. His thermos of coffee sat empty beside him as he hunched over, staring at the ground. That was the state Dora found him in, a man on the edge of despair, his heart as weathered as the bench beneath him, completely unaware of what would happen next. For Dora, that day had started like any other. As the crisp autumn wind swept through the streets, she had gone to school, laughed with her friends, and eagerly awaited her mom's after-work ritual of grabbing coffee from the deli. Dora had stopped by the corner deli after school to see her mother, Sarah, order a cup of coffee, while Dora, excited as ever, ordered her favorite snack, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. While her mother chatted with the cashier, handing over her shift, Dora's attention drifted to the park across the street. "Mom, can we sit in the park for a while?" Dora asked under her breath, pausing in the cool air. Sarah hesitated, glancing at her watch. She had a cleaning shift in less than an hour, but the way Dora looked up at her with those big brown eyes made her sigh and smile. Dora skipped ahead, her pigtails bouncing, but she stopped abruptly when she spotted a man sitting alone on a splintered bench beneath a canopy of fiery orange leaves. He wasn't like the others strolling through the park or feeding the birds. He sat still, his face hidden beneath a cap and oversized sunglasses. His hunched posture and the way he clutched his coat tightly against the cold made her pause. There was something about him that tugged at her little heart. He looked lonely, almost invisible, like he didn't want to be noticed. But Dora noticed. He looked so sad. His shoulders were hunched, his face obscured by a cap and sunglasses. A scarf was wrapped around his neck, but his thin coat seemed inadequate against the biting wind. His hands, folded in his lap, trembled slightly. Dora whispered to her mom, tugging on her sleeve. "That man looks sad. I think he needs a friend." Sarah followed her daughter's gaze. She saw the man, noticed the weariness in the way he sat. She hesitated. It wasn't unusual to see people down on their luck in the city, and she didn't want to scare Dora or put her in an uncomfortable situation. "Maybe he's just resting," she said gently. But Dora couldn't shake the feeling that he needed something. "Can I give him my sandwich?" she asked, her eyes shining with determination. Sarah looked at her daughter, then back at the man. She hesitated for a moment. Money was tight, and the sandwich was one of Dora's favorite treats, but she saw the determination in Dora's face and knew there was no stopping her. "Go ahead, sweetheart. He sure looks like he needs someone to talk to. But be polite." With that encouragement, Dora didn't wait another second. She skipped across the street, sandwich in hand, her pigtails bouncing with each step. She had no idea who the man was, no idea that she was walking into the orbit of someone who had been seen by millions but felt invisible. "Hi," her small voice cut through the rustle of leaves. The man lifted his head slowly. Under the shadow of his cap and glasses, Dora could make out a faint scruff of a beard and tired eyes that seemed to hide a sadness she couldn't quite understand. "Hello," he said, his voice soft and surprisingly familiar. "You look hungry," Dora said matter-of-factly, holding out her sandwich. "You can have mine." When she offered her sandwich, Eastwood looked at her like she had just handed him the world. He blinked, taken aback. For a moment, he didn't move, as though he wasn't sure if she was real. For Eastwood, that small act of kindness was a crack in the walls he had built around himself. He didn't know this little girl. He didn't understand why she'd noticed him. But her simple gesture reminded him of what he'd almost forgotten: humanity. Then, a small, genuine smile tugged at the corners of his lips. "Thank you," he murmured, accepting the sandwich with both hands. "You're welcome," Dora said cheerfully before skipping back to her mother, leaving the man sitting there, sandwich in hand. His heart unexpectedly felt lighter. But little did Dora know, the man she had just helped was not a homeless stranger, but Clint Eastwood, one of the most famous actors in the world, and that small moment of kindness would ripple far beyond that park bench. After that fateful encounter, the lives of both Dora and Clint Eastwood changed significantly. The story of the little girl with the sandwich was not just a fleeting moment in the park, but a pivotal turning point for both of them. Clint Eastwood left the town after leaving his gift for Dora and her mother, but in his heart, the image of the bright-eyed girl with a loving heart remained. He didn't just receive a simple meal, he rediscovered faith in kindness and human connection. As he drove away from the small town, he found himself thinking deeply about the significance of what had just happened. It was rare for him to feel truly seen, not as a celebrity, but as a person. Over the years, he had encountered thousands of fans, shaken hands at red carpet events, and given countless autographs, yet none of those interactions had touched his heart the way Dora's simple act of kindness did. He had spent so much of his life under the spotlight, but for the first time in a long while, he felt a genuine human connection that had nothing to do with fame or fortune. For days, Eastwood replayed the moment in his mind, questioning how he had allowed himself to become so lost in the pursuit of Hollywood success. He thought about the long hours on set, the endless cycle of promotions, and the pressure to always be at the top of his game. He realized he had spent too much time chasing fame and fortune, forgetting the fundamental values of humanity. Over the years, he had participated in countless films and won numerous prestigious awards, yet no moment had ever touched him as profoundly as the way Dora had given him her sandwich. That small act made him reevaluate his priorities. He wondered how many other moments of human connection he had missed in his life. Had he been so consumed by his career that he had overlooked the simple joys of everyday kindness? The question lingered in his mind, and for the first time in years, he felt the urge to slow down and truly appreciate the world around him. He started sharing Dora's story in interviews, not just as a cherished memory, but as a reminder of the importance of kindness. True success isn't measured by money or fame, but by what we do to help others, he said in an interview. The story of Dora resonated with many, and soon, fans from all over the world began writing to him, sharing their own acts of kindness and how they had been inspired by the tale of the little girl with the sandwich. Eastwood also decided to make changes in his own life. He took a step back from Hollywood's relentless pace and focused on projects that had deeper meaning. He sought out films that highlighted humanity, compassion, and the power of small acts of goodness. More than ever, he wanted his work to reflect the lesson he had learned from Dora, that even the simplest gestures could have a lasting impact. Dora continued growing up with the generous spirit and kindness her mother had instilled in her. Thanks to Clint Eastwood's financial support, her mother no longer had to work excessive hours. This gave her more time to be with Dora and share meaningful moments together. They spent more time cooking, reading, and simply enjoying each other's presence. Dora cherished these moments, understanding that love and care were the greatest gifts a person could receive. As Dora grew older, she became even more passionate about giving back to the community. She began participating in charitable activities at school, organizing small donation programs to help classmates in need. She believed that if a simple sandwich could change someone's day, then other small acts of kindness could change their lives. Her passion only grew as she moved on to college. She studied social work, determined to make a career out of helping others. She interned at shelters and community centers, witnessing firsthand how small acts of generosity could transform lives. These experiences strengthened her resolve to create a lasting impact on the world. Years later, as an adult, Dora decided to establish a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping underprivileged children and the homeless. Her organization provided food, shelter, education, and job opportunities to those who needed them the most. What started as a small initiative quickly grew into a movement, inspiring others to join her mission. She worked tirelessly, organizing fundraising events, collaborating with businesses, and expanding her reach beyond her hometown. One day, while organizing a charity event, Dora received a letter from Clint Eastwood. In the letter, he wrote, "Dear Dora, years ago you gave me a sandwich, but in reality, you gave me something far more valuable, faith in human kindness. I am so proud of you and everything you are doing. You have inspired not just me, but so many others." Holding the letter in her hands, tears welled up in Dora's eyes. She never imagined that a small act from her childhood could have such a profound impact on someone. But more importantly, she understood that all the work she was doing today could also change many other lives. She smiled as she read the letter again, realizing that kindness truly had a ripple effect. The impact of one small gesture could extend far beyond what anyone could imagine. After leaving the small town, Clint Eastwood returned to his film career, but with a completely different perspective. He no longer chose purely commercial films, but began producing movies with deep human values, spreading messages of kindness and compassion. One of his biggest projects was a film based on Dora's story. He wanted to bring the story to the big screen to inspire millions around the world. He worked tirelessly on the script, ensuring that the story remained authentic and heartfelt. He collaborated with talented writers, actors, and producers who shared his vision of portraying kindness as a transformative force. When the film was released, it received widespread praise and became one of the most meaningful works of his career. Critics lauded its emotional depth, and audiences were deeply moved by the portrayal of the simple yet powerful act that changed lives. The movie sparked conversations about compassion, leading to an increase in charitable donations and social initiatives worldwide. However, what made him happiest was not the success of the film, but how it encouraged people to take action. After watching the movie, many people decided to participate in charity work, help those in need, and spread kindness in their communities. Schools started incorporating lessons on empathy and generosity into their curriculums, inspired by Dora's story. Eastwood continued to dedicate his career to meaningful projects, using his platform to advocate for humanitarian causes. He established a foundation that supported various charitable initiatives, ensuring that his impact would extend beyond the silver screen. Dora and Clint Eastwood did not meet often after that, but the bond between them remained strong. Dora continued her charitable work, while Eastwood kept sharing her story. They both understood that kindness doesn't have to be something grand. Sometimes a simple act like offering a sandwich can change someone's life forever. And thanks to such acts, the world becomes a better place, one gesture at a time.